Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is The Walking Dead Deluxe number 19. For those who don't know, Walking Dead is being reprinted now in color, going issue by issue. Every issue is out every other week. I'm getting a couple issues behind. I'm going to do my best to catch up relatively quickly. This is an interesting issue. I mean, this is the one Michonne shows up. This is the debut of Michonne, who is, I agree with Kirkman on this, probably the most popular character of the series. Yes, I know Daryl's got a lot of love, but Michonne overall, between the comics and the show, like, I think she's pretty popular. It's an interesting issue. Like we saw in the previous that Rick is kind of being given a ultimatum: get the hell out. He's not wanted as far as prisoners, at least some of the prisoners. Dexter's holding them with a gun, and there's this kind of this nice pivot to it. Like, I think Kirkman, this is a really solid issue. He kind of, in the back kind of mentions that there's some quick conflict, and you kind of want to move through things quickly. But I really like the issue. I think it's a solid issue. So, Walking Dead, written by Robert Kirkman, art by Charlie Adlard, colored by Dave McCaig, lettering by Rus Wooton. So this is a good one with some conflict with Dexter, holding him hostage. They all have to kind of come together to take care of zombies that get out. And there's some nice twists with the dealing with the threat that is in front of them. It's interesting is that in the back of every issue we got kind of notes from Kirkman, and Kirkman thinks in the previous issue, Rick makes a statement of like no killing, and this issue quickly kind of flips around on that. He kind of becomes a hypocrite on that. But I actually think it's a really interesting aspect, and I think it's a smart aspect, and it shows Rick not being hypocritical, but I actually think it shows Rick being practical. That he, I don't think there would be an honest way of de-escalating the issue at hand. It is them, live or die situation, and Rick basically made a decision to protect his folks and do what he needed to be done. So in that way, I think like it's a very, very smart issue that shows some interesting decision making on Rick's part. And I think it works really, really well. The introduction of Michonne, I think, is still one of my favorite introductions for like any character in any comic. It's just badass, great, mysterious thing. You can kind of tell that this is just like a really going to be a cool character. Very like Jedi-like, showing up, just whipping ass. I really liked it. I mean, I remember reading that originally and enjoying it. It's also, I've kind of talked about every single issue. I think it's really interesting going back and reading the series issue by issue in today's setting. I mean, when this came out, it was a very different world. We had economic issues. We had threats of terrorism. Now we're dealing with COVID, which feels like it's much more appropriate as far as dealing with zombies, or being an analogy for zombies. And in that way, I actually think that this issue is really, really interesting. We've got kind of this conflict of working as a group or kind of casting people away, which is something that is going on every day. I mean, people are breaking off friendships and doing all sorts of conflict to protect their own, and doing what needs to be done. I think the whole practical sense that we're seeing in this is something that a lot of folks are kind of dealing with themselves now. So I think the series continues to be really interesting, reading it in today's, with today's situations. But overall, I'm loving the comic. I think this is one of my favorite issues. Going back to when it was first released, it was a favorite issue of mine. And the series, I think, is absolutely fantastic. It's been really fun to go back issue by issue reading it. The coloring, I think, is actually really kind of coming into its own. I know in the beginning I wasn't the biggest fan of the coloring, but I think the coloring with Charlie Adlar's art is very, very different than when the series first started, and Adlard is kind of coming into his own as far as style and look for the characters in the series, and I think it works really, really well now. It's not quite of a distraction as it was, I think, in early issues. So much like the series as a whole, I think the art and the coloring is really kind of coming into a groove around this issue, maybe a couple previous issues, but recently. In comic shops now, you can go get this. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. Tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We'll have some links underneath this video. There'll be affiliate links. By doing that, you help support our site, so thank you. And just watching our videos support us, so thank you for that. If you're into Walking Dead, if you're into Skybound, Image, comics in general, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.